Every leader carries a battlefield within. A battlefield of doubt, pressure, deadlines, expectations, and a quiet fire that refuses to go out. And if you listen closely, you can hear it. The tension before a big decision, the whisper of fear before a bold move, the clash between who you are and who you know you could be. I'm Jessica, and this is Beyond the Battlefield, redefining leadership from the inside out. We're not here to add one more management framework to your list. We're here to walk into the war within. Doubts, tough calls, dreams tangled in daily chaos. And our guide? The Bhagavad Gita, a 5,000-year-old Indian jewel that has quietly shaped minds like Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein. A text that inspired Emerson, Thoreau, Vivekananda, and now it's here to speak to your leadership, your business, your life. Ready to ignite your inner fire? Let's roll. Before we go any further, I want you to meet two voices you already know very well. The inner doubter, full of questions, and the inner leader, lighting the path even when everything feels dark. Listen in.
Okay, so I'm leading a team, right? But honestly, I'm freaking out inside. My boss says I'm not decisive. My teammate needs a push, but I'm scared of breaking them. Do I push harder? Back off? My big vision is there, but these deadlines are crushing me. And now you're telling me to read some ancient book? The Gita? Why not just grab a modern leadership hack from the bestseller shelf?
Take a breath. That storm you're in, that's your battlefield. It's as real as Arjuna's on Kurukshetra.
Arjuna stood between two armies, duty on one side, heart on the other. You're standing between your vision and your deadlines, your teammate and your team, your family and your ambition. Krishna didn't hand Arjuna a quick fix. He met his doubts, sat in his confusion, lit a spark of clarity. That's where leadership begins, not when things are easy, but right where you're breaking.
That cuts deep. Inner doubter, what still holds you back?
Look, the Gita is thousands of years old. My problems, they're real. Team drama, crazy targets, a boss who wants results yesterday, a family that keeps asking, when will you be home on time? I'm Indian, proud of that. But I don't even know the Gita's verses. We talk about it, quote a line in speeches, but how is a warrior story supposed to help my project review on Monday?
Your pride, that spark you feel when you say, I'm Indian.
That's not a problem. That's potential. And your questions? They're gold. The Gita's 700 verses don't just talk about war. They talk about the war in your mind. Family expectations, bosses, conflicting roles, your search for meaning. Krishna guided Arjuna through the mess. When to stand firm, when to step back, how to act without breaking inside. And that's why people like Steve Jobs carried it. Why Einstein called it profound. Why global institutes study Krishna's life for leadership insights. It's not old versus new. It's about finding a steady flame in the middle of chaos.
Powerful. Inner doubter. Still not convinced?
We live in a world of data, steps, frameworks. Modern books give you charts and models and 5 ways to be a better manager. What's the Gita's edge? And in India, we keep praising our heritage. But why don't we live it?
Why are we chasing imported models when we haven't even opened our own?
Sharp question. The Gita is not a checklist, it's a lens. It doesn't hand you a top 10. It cuts through the inner noise so you can see clearly. In India, we cherish our roots, but yes, we often stop at appreciation. We love the idea of the Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, but very few of us apply them to how we hire, decide, fire, forgive, build, and lead. The Gita shows you how to act with purpose, in deadlines, in team conflicts, in family tensions. Name your pull: boss, vision, home. The Gita's invitation is simple. Lead from clarity, not panic. That's your fire.
That's the battlefield we're stepping into. And to guide us through the Gita, verse by verse, crisis by crisis, is Ankur. Ankur, the mic is yours.
You know, those questions from the inner doubter, they're not theoretical. I've asked most of them myself. Why does the Gita matter to a modern leader, to a manager, to a founder, to someone who's just trying to survive Monday? Let's start with what the Gita is. It's a 700 verse dialogue in the Mahabharata, set on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Prince Arjuna stands frozen. Should he fight a war against his own kin or walk away from his duty? His bow slips, his heart sinks, his mind explodes with emotion, and in that moment, he turns to his Sarthi, Krishna. Krishna doesn't scream at him. He doesn't shame him. He doesn't say that leaders don't cry. He listens. He understands Arjuna's collapse. And then, step by step, he unfolds a vision of action, purpose, and inner steadiness. Since Charles Wilkins translated the Gita in 1785, it has touched thinkers across the world. Ralph Waldo Emerson called it an old intelligence. Henry David Thoreau kept it close. Swami Vivekananda carried it onto global stages. Steve Jobs carried a copy of the Gita. Albert Einstein said it moved him deeply. Oxford circles have spoken of Krishna as an ultimate management guru. Even institutes like the California Hypnosis Institute study Krishna's life for insights into human behavior and leadership. But here's the paradox. In India, where the Gita was born, we often stop at reverence. We're proud of our heritage, our culture, our scriptures. But how many of us have actually read 700 shlok? How many of us live them in boardrooms, stand-ups, or living rooms? We praise the idol and overlook the idea. We quote a verse and ignore the transformation it demands. India has been a trading hub for centuries. Businesses built on samudaya, seva, trust. Texts like the Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata hold powerful insights we've simply not framed in the language of leadership. The Gita flips that. It calls us to see what others don't, to apply ancient wisdom to modern dilemmas. Growth without burnout, ambition without guilt, power without cruelty, success without emptiness. Over time, the Gita has become more than a scripture. It's a manual for leadership, personal growth, and even economics. In India, its value systems run deep under the culture. Globally, it's being embraced in boardrooms, coaching frameworks, and even ESG models. In business, the Gita offers a powerful principle: grow, but not by harming others. Create, innovate, lead, but with ethics and integrity. It's the seed of sustainable business. आपके विकास से किसी और की बर्बादी नहीं होनी चाहिए. Let's talk about Krishna for a moment. Krishna in the Gita is not sitting on a cloud giving sermons. He's in the dust of the battlefield. Hands on the reins, chariot rattling, conch shell thundering. He's fully engaged, fully present. He represents the complete human being, one who can hold contradictions, complexity and clarity all at once. Playful and profound, strategic and compassionate, detached yet deeply involved. That's why he's such a powerful model for leadership. In the Gita, leadership is not about position or title. It's about self-discovery. Krishna doesn't teach leadership, he awakens it. That's the shift we're making in this podcast, from learning to discovering, from control to clarity.
That's a vision to fire up any leader. It's beautiful when we hear it. But how do we start living this wisdom?
We start exactly where we are. Your doubts aren't a defect, they're your entry point. Think of a team leader buried in deadlines, watching her team slip. She cares, but her head is on fire. Dashboards, escalations, late nights. The Gita doesn't tell her to run away. It helps her find balance, to focus on what truly matters, on what lasts beyond this month's report. Or an entrepreneur, burning with a big dream, but fighting 10 fires a day. Cash flow, hiring, product, family pressure. Krishna's wisdom doesn't magically fix her problems. It guides her to act from clarity, one step at a time. That's our path here on Beyond the Battlefield. Verse by verse, we'll walk through these teachings, blending them with real-world struggles, unlocking leadership from within. Whether you're in a boardroom, a startup, a factory, or just navigating life's beautiful chaos.
What a way to ignite this journey! Our inner battlefield is alive. Doubts, dreams, and the Gita's wisdom waiting to light the way. And episode 1 begins with a question most people skip over. Ankur, before we wrap this intro, give us a taste. Why does chapter 1 of the Gita even exist?
After reading the Gita the first time, I used to wonder the same thing. Why does chapter 1 exist? Why does it start like this? Many people ask, Vyasji, why this kind of chapter 1? You open it and it's all about who is on the Kaurav side, who is on the Pandav side, warriors, formations, descriptions, lineups. Some people find it boring. Where's the wisdom? Where are the big teachings? In fact, chapter 1 is where you get the least philosophy on the surface. Some editions even skip it. There are powerful leadership lessons hiding there about ego, attachment, arrogance, anger, and how they quietly destroy our clarity. Imagine the time around 3000 BCE. There was no printing press, no online PDFs, not even writing in the way we know it. Wisdom traveled as stories. Before the Gita, there were the Upanishad and Vedanta, the cream of spiritual wisdom, the highest philosophy humanity has ever produced. When the British first arrived and read these texts, they didn't understand them. To them, the Upanishad and Vedanta sounded like confusing ramblings of an early civilization. They said, this is just primitive talk, childish speculation. They had no idea what they were reading. But even for many Indians, those texts were difficult, deep, abstract, hard to translate into daily life. A battlefield, a frozen warrior, a compassionate guide. Chapter 1 is that scene setter. It's the trailer of the movie. It pulls you in. It grounds the teaching in human crisis. So when chapter 1 feels like just names and lineups, remember, it's doing its job. It's building the emotional context for everything that follows. Chapter 1 is all about the great battle between the Pandav and Kaurav armies. But under the surface, it's all about you. We focus especially on Arjuna, our main lens, our representative on the Pandav side. Picture this: Arjuna in his rut, ready for battle. His cousin Krishna is his Sarthi, driving the chariot. Krishna has the reins in his hand. 5 powerful horses pull the chariot. He raised his hand as if counting, saying, symbolically, those 5 horses are your 5 indriya: sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell. The reins are your man, your mind. When the reins are loose, the horses run wherever they want. When the mind is uncontrolled, the senses drag you in every direction. Krishna, self-realized Jagrit Chaitanya, represents the buddhi, the higher intellect, the Paramatma Tattva, holding the reins tight, guiding the horses. And Arjuna sitting in the chariot, that's you, the passenger, the Atma, the true I. Now here's the problem in chapter 1. Arjuna's mind is all over the place. His man is flooded with emotions. Ego, I am the greatest archer. I must win. Attachment, these are my people. How can I fight them? Arrogance, I know what's right better than anyone. Anger, I want to fight even when I am not clear. These emotions take over the chariot. The horses go wild. The mind grips the reins. The buddhi, the intellect, the real king falls asleep on the throne. Krishna's message, once the teaching begins, is very clear. If your emotions control you, you cannot lead. Your intellect must wake up, take the reins and focus. And that's the big leadership lesson for us from this so-called boring first chapter. When your mind is running wild with ego, attachment, anger, your work becomes messy. Your decisions blur. You misread people. You react instead of respond. It's like when you're furious at work and send that email you later regret. Or when fear makes you delay a difficult conversation. Under the Gita's guidance, something powerful happens. The buddhi sharpens. Your intellect becomes like a laser. Your work becomes more precise, more aligned, more ethical, more effective. From my own experience, after walking with the Gita, life does change. You sleep better. You feel lighter. Anxiety reduces. Depression loosens its grip. You become more productive at work. Your focus improves. Your calm becomes sharper. You become more successful. Not just in outer metrics, but in inner quiet. The rest, money, recognition, opportunities, often follows naturally. But let me be very honest. This is not magic. It's not a light switch. In other words, you don't hear one shlok, flip a switch, and suddenly everything is perfect. It's more like learning to play a game or learning the piano. You practice, you repeat, you forget, you come back over and over. Everyone listening to this is not going to get enlightened overnight. I don't expect that of myself either. But if you move just a little, from 0 to 1 on a long scale, you feel the difference. Stress reacts differently inside you. You see your triggers. You choose more wisely. I often say this about my own journey. When I started with the Gita, spiritually, I wasn't even in kindergarten. Now I feel like I've moved to first grade. And I'm genuinely happy with that. Because I can see what a difference that small shift makes. So while we walk this path together in Beyond the Battlefield, I'd really encourage you to do something simple. Get a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Keep it with you. Read along with us. I can't do full justice to every chapter in this podcast. There's too much depth. But if you follow along, listening and reading, you'll start seeing changes for yourself. You'll see how it shapes your clarity, your decision, your inner peace, your leadership. Not as theory, but as lived experience.
That's our intro, friends. Our battlefield is no longer just something in a story. It's here, in our inboxes, our boardrooms, our homes, our hearts. And so is Krishna's wisdom, waiting to speak. In episode 1, we step into that first chapter, the scene everyone skips, and begin to squeeze out the leadership lessons Vyasji hid there for us. Until then, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep watching your inner battlefield. If this resonated with you, do share this episode with someone who's fighting their own unseen war. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And we'd love to hear from you. Write to us at beyondthebattlefield@outlook.in. Also, check out the GPT companion link in the description, your interactive guide to verses, reflections, and leadership insights from the Gita. I'm Jessica. This is Beyond the Battlefield, and your inner journey has just begun.